what we're going to need for this project is obviously going to be your wool. I'm not 100% sure how much wool I'm going to need. I know for the other project that you guys have seen, I use 2.5 balls of yarn. However, I am using a slightly bigger hook for this project, so it might take me a little bit more, but it doesn't matter. I do have loads of these yarn. So this is a double knitting yarn by Woolfcraft. It's 100% acrylic, and the recommended hook size for this is 4 millimeters. However, I do find that when I crochet very tight, so I've opted for a bigger hook size. You can stick to 4 millimeters as well. Your project is going to be slightly smaller. The project we are doing today is for age 2 to 3 years old, and obviously if you are using a slightly bigger hook or a slightly smaller one, it's going to change the size of your project. Okay, so that's the wool, that's the hook that we're going to be using. You're also going to need some buttons for the project. I've got these 3 different types of buttons, so and I haven't really decided which ones I'm going to use, so I'm just going to show you. I've got these beautiful wooden ones that says handmade with love on them, and they've all got different motifs on them. So I'm very tempted to use those. So for now, I'm just going to stick to those. But I have also bought these sort of like a flower petal wooden ones that I really like, and I think they're going to look very good with that color. Or I might just use these flower ones, which do look amazing. Again, these are wooden ones, and they all have different motif on. And if you actually have a look at with this color, they actually look very cute. So very undecisive about the buttons. I'm gonna see once the project is finished, I'm gonna pick which ones I'm gonna use. You will also need measuring tape, scissors. I do have these. They look like very retro from the 1970s. I do like them, they cut very well, so I'm using them. You will need stitch markers. If you use them or if you prefer them, I do like them because sometimes, I don't know if you can see my tablet, I do like to watch a movie as I'm crocheting, so sometimes I do forget rows and so on, so I do like to use them. And I've got a yarn needle. I do have those plastic ones which are a little bit curved, but I always find them that make cringing noises, and it doesn't work for me. So I've got this metal one. Okay, so I'm going to quickly show you the plan for today. So it might not actually make sense because it's all scribbles, but it does make sense in my head. So I'm just going to go through with you. This is the yoke that we're going to be making. Okay, so altogether we're going to have 73 stitches plus 2. So that would be 75. We're going to have 2 10s in the front, 13 chains for the sleeves, and 23 chains in the back. And that will mean that we're going to have a little bit of gap in the front, but this is where we're going to do the edging and the opening for the buttons. I'm thinking we're going to have about 4 or 5 buttons, but we're going to see as we go along. Obviously it's going to be slightly different from the thumbnail project because this one is going to be a little bit bigger. The sleeves are going to be about 20 centimeters, and we're going to have those 2-3 centimeters for the edges where we're going to tighten the sleeves up. We're going to have 14 centimeters on the yoke where we're going to connect the sleeves, and I'm thinking about 24 centimeters length, but we'll see as we go along. This is basically what I use to plan my project. I know for some of you it might not make sense, but that is fine. I do have this pattern in my Etsy shop. It does have a pattern with a symbol, but it also has the written pattern as well. So there's combination of both, and a little bit of a visual as well. So that's the plan. I'm just gonna pop it here on the side. Brew, it's not optional, get yourself a brew. I do realize I like mine a little bit milky, and as I said, I do tend to watch movies as I do it. So yes, let's get started. I know some of you like to pull it from here and then keep on pulling. I just, to be honest, I'm winging it, so whatever it's gonna work. And yeah, so we're gonna start our project by chaining 75. We're gonna start with the first chain, and to do that we're gonna wrap the yarn twice around our finger. We're gonna insert the hook underneath the first one, pick up the second one and pull. Hold the two sides of the yarn, two ends, and pull your hook, and there we have it. That's our first chain. Okay, let's do that again. Pull the wrap the yarn twice around your finger, insert it underneath the first one, pick up the second one, and then hold the ends and pull. So that's our first chain. So let's go ahead and make 75 chains. So 1, 2, 3. So yarn over, pull through, and that's your one chain. Yarn over, pull through, that's another one. So we've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm gonna go ahead and make 70 more chains, and I'm gonna meet you back here once we all have 75 chains, and I'm gonna start row 1 together with you. Okay guys, and here we are. I've got 75 chains. What we're going to start now is the first row. The first row is going to consist of all double crochets and V-stitches. So the V-stitch is what's going to make the corners of our work. So if you actually have a look at the yoke, so this is the yoke. These are going to be the V-stitches here in order for us to make the corners. Okay, so there's going to be 4 V-stitches, and then in between the V-stitches we're going to have these chains as the plan. Okay, so let's get started. So 75 chains, we're going to make a double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. So this is 1, 2, and in this 3rd chain here we're going to make a double crochet. To make a double crochet, what you need to do is to yarn over, insert the hook in this 3rd chain here, yarn over, pull through. You're going to have 3 chains on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And what I like to do now is to just put a stitch marker in this first chain here. So if you are using stitch markers, this is a good place to place one. Okay, I'm just going to put that in. Okay, so let's make another one. So yarn over, in the next stitch we're going to insert the hook, yarn over, pull through, and we've got 3 chains on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we've got 2 double crochets. This chain here, these 2 that we use to lift our work up, do not count as a double crochet. Okay, so in this first part we're going to need to do 10 double crochet. So we've got 1, 2, so let's go ahead and make 10 double crochet. So this is 3, okay, 4, 5. You might find this a little bit wiggly to begin with because your work is still not sturdy enough, but as you go along it's gonna start getting easier, especially when it comes to holding your work. Okay, how many have I made? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so 3 more. So this is 8, 9, and 10. So this is the first part. This is the one that's gonna go on the front. Okay, so I've got 10 double crochet. Next we need to make the V-stitch here, and the V-stitch is what is gonna be turning our work, so that's what's gonna make the corner. Okay, now for this project you're gonna have to do a couple of different V-stitches. So this is gonna be the normal V-stitch. We're gonna call it normal, okay, because it's the easiest one to do. What you need to do is make a double crochet, so yarn over, pull, go in that stitch, yarn over, pull through, so yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So you've made that double crochet, chain 1 and make another double crochet into that same stitch. Okay, so you're gonna get something that looks like a V, like this. Okay, and it's gonna have a little gap there, and that's gonna make the corner. So let's go ahead and do the next section. So for the next section we need 13 double crochets, so we'll make 13 double crochets. So you go ahead and make those, and I'm gonna meet you once you've made the 13 double crochets, and we're gonna do the second V-stitch together. Okay, so I've got 3 there, so I'll meet you once we've got 13. So I've got, this is my 12th. Okay, let's just double count. So we're not counting this first one here because that's the V-stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I need 1 more. So this is 13. And then we're going to do the second V-stitch. So double crochet into that next chain. Chain 1, and then another double crochet into that same stitch. Okay, so if you actually see your work now, if we put it here just to have a look, you're gonna see that we've made that corner, and this work now is starting to curve, which is the second corner. Okay, so what you'll need to do next is to do 23 double crochets, a V-stitch, then 13 double crochets, V-stitch, and then the last 10 double crochets, and I'm gonna meet you once we've reached the end. Okay, so here I am at the end of this row 1. I've got 3 stitches left, so let's make the double crochets together and finish this row. Okay, so that's 1, 2 and 3. Okay, at the end of this row our work should look a little bit like this. Okay, let's have a look. As you can see, we've got those 4 V-stitches have made our corners, and it's starting to look like our project, I think. Okay, so hard bit done. Let's get on to row number 2. To start row number 2, we're going to chain 2, and remember the chains 2 will never count as a double crochet. Okay, and then turn your work. Okay, what we'll do is on this next row is we're gonna start the pattern work, and that's what's gonna give us those little diamond shapes and wriggly lines. Okay, so we're gonna start with 2 double crochets. So the first one is going to be in this chain where the chain 2 is. So that's 1. Okay. 1 double crochet. Put your stitch marker in there, in that first one. Okay, and then we're going to do a double crochet right next to it. Okay, now this is your startup work. You're going to notice that this chain 2 will give you like a little bit of indentation like here. Don't worry about it, because we will do a border for our buttons and our buttonholes, so you're not even going to be able to see that. Okay, so we're going to skip the next stitch, and then in the second one we're going to do a shell stitch. To do a shell stitch, you're going to do 3 double crochets into that same stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, and this is going to be our mini shell stitch, and it looks a little bit like shell. Okay, so we're going to skip the next one, and in the next 2 we're going to do a back post double crochets. Okay, so back post double crochets means that we're going to go in the back of these posts and make a double crochet. Okay, what that looks like is yarn over, go in the back of these posts, so in the back, and insert your hook in there, then pick up that post like so. Okay, yarn over, pull through, same thing, you've got 3 chains on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and there you have it. You've made a back post double crochet. Okay, and we're going to make another one just next to it. Okay, yarn over and go in the back of that post, pick it up like so, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we've made 2 back post double crochets. Okay, then skip a chain, and in the next one you're going to do a shell stitch, and this is pretty much the pattern that we're going to follow in this row and every second row from now on. Okay, so the shell stitch is 3 double crochets into the same stitch. Okay, skip a chain, and in this last one on this section we're going to do a back post double crochet. So go in the back of that, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, now we are up to this chain space of our V-stitch. So this is the sort of V-stitch that we did on the row before. It's just your normal V-stitch, which means that it's gonna consist of a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. Okay, and there you have it. You've got another V-stitch. Okay, for the next chain we're going to do a back post double crochet. Okay, so that's our back post double crochet. Okay, we're going to skip 1, and in the next one we're going to do a shell stitch. And this is how you're going to start all the different sections, well, all sort of 3 sections that are remaining. That's 3. Okay, then skip 1, and in the next 2 we're going to do back post double crochets. Okay, so that's 1 and another one next to it, back post double crochet. As I said, it's starting to get easier now to hold your work, so as you go along it's going to be easier and easier. Okay, Okay, again we're going to skip one and we're going to do a shell stitch, which is 3 double crochets into that same stitch. So that's 1, 2 and 3. Okay, again we're going to follow that pattern, skip one and then do a back post double crochet. So that's one and another one right next to it. Okay, so 2 back post double crochets, again skip one and make a shell stitch, okay, in the next one. So we're going to skip this and in here we're going to make a shell stitch. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we are coming to the second V-stitch, so we're going to skip one and in this last one we're going to just do 1 back post double crochet. So we are finishing with 1 back post double crochet and then we are starting the next section with just 1 back post double crochet. Okay, and we're going to make a V-stitch in here in this chain 1 space like the one we did in the previous row. So this is going to be a normal V-stitch, so double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet. Okay, so to start the next section, so this is the back, as we said we're going to do a back post double crochet. So we're going to start and end with 1 back post double crochet, skip one and do a chain, sorry, not a chain, a shell stitch. Okay, 1, 2, oops, and 3. Okay, so follow this pattern all the way and then I'm going to meet you at the end. So what you want to happen now is you skip one, you do 2 back post double crochet, you skip one, you do a shell stitch, skip one, 2 back post double, skip one, a shell stitch, and so on until you get to the end of that section where you're going to do 1 back post double, a V-stitch and a back post double before starting the next pattern. Okay, so continue doing that on this row and I'm going to meet you towards the end where we're going to finish this row together. Okay, so here I am at the last section of row number 2. So I've just completed my V-stitch and let's complete this last section together. You're going to notice that the last and second to last sections are actually a mirror of the first and the second one. Okay, so again, to begin this row we're going to need to do a back post double crochet, just the one, because for this row and any future rows like this we're going to start and end with a back post. So this is the second row, so every even row it's going to be the same. Okay, skip one and do a shell stitch, so 3 double crochets into that same stitch. Okay, and skip one and 2 back posts double crochets, so that's 1 and another one, another back post. We're gonna skip one and do a shell stitch, one, 2 and 3, and you should have 3 stitches left, and we're going to repeat what we did at the beginning, which is skip one and do just 2 normal double crochets in the end. So skip this one and then 2 just normal double crochets at the end. So that's 1, just going to take the stitch marker, okay, and 2. Okay, so well done. You've just finished row number 2, and your work, this is the wrong side. From the wrong side, it's going to look something like this. But if you turn it on the right side, you're going to notice that your work is starting to get take shape, and you can see all of these little indentations and bumps in your work, which is going to make that a beautiful pattern. Okay, so to start row number 3, what we need to do is chain 2. Okay, so okay, chain 2, 1, 2, and turn your work. And to start this row, the pattern is going to be a little bit different. This is going to be the pattern that we're going to follow every odd row. So this is row number 3. So row number 5 is going to have the same, 7, 9, and so on. Okay, so to start this, we're going to do a double crochet into that first stitch, and we're going to put a stitch mark on that. Okay, so this row is what's going to give us those little sort of moving to the left and the right side, and those little connections with these bumps. Okay, so we've done a double crochet. So next thing what we need to do is to do another double crochet, but we're gonna do this in this first chain of the shell. Okay, for this row we're gonna use the first and the last chain of your shell stitch. Okay, so we're not gonna use that middle one, we're gonna use the first and the last, and I'm gonna tell you how we're gonna do it. Okay, so let's make a double crochet. So skip 1 and make a double crochet in that first chain of your shell. Okay, so we've done that. Okay, next thing we're gonna do a front post double crochet. Okay, and we're gonna do that in this post just before the shell stitch. So on each side of the shell stitch, you're going to notice that you've got front post double crochets. See, each one of those shells got them, and that's what we're going to use. Okay, so let's make a front post double crochet in this pillar here just before the shell. To do a front post double crochet is just the opposite from the back post really. So yarn over, pull the hook just at the back of that post, so the post is actually in the front, so it's not on the back anymore. Yarn over, pull through, so you've got 3 chains there on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and as you can see, you've made a front post double crochet. Okay, we're going to connect that front post double crochet with this front post at the other side of the shell. Okay, so we're going to make a front post double crochet in this post here just after the shell stitch. So we're going to miss 2, and in this third one we're going to do another front post double crochet. Okay, there we go, and you're going to notice that these 2 are moving towards one another. Okay, now in crochet it's important that you keep to the stitches that you have. So for example, if we're going to start moving now, we skip 2 stitches, so our work is just going to start pulling together. Okay, so we're going to make a double crochet in the back of this front post double in the 3rd chain of our shell stitch. So we're going to skip that middle. This is the middle stitch of the shell. So in this 3rd stitch here, we're going to make a double crochet. Okay, so you're going to turn the work and insert your hook into that 3rd stitch of the shell, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, now we're going to chain 1, okay, and we're going to make a double crochet into that first chain of the next shell stitch. Okay, so we've used that stitch already, so we're going to skip that one, and into this next stitch we're going to make a double crochet. Okay, so let me just have a look. Yeah, sorry, make sure you've chained 1 there, and then double crochet, and we're gonna do the same pattern that we did here. We're gonna make a front post double crochet in the front post just before the shell stitch. Then we're gonna connect that to the front post double crochet on the other side of the shell stitch. I feel this is easier than you counting the stitches on the top. And then we're going to do a double crochet into this stitch here, which is the 3rd stitch of the shell, and do a double crochet. Okay, now as you've noticed here, we've come to the V-stitch. So this is where this V-stitch is going to be different than the normal V-stitch that we've used in the previous 2 rows. Okay, so go ahead, chain 1, and what we'll do is in this space in here in the V-stitch, we're going to do a double crochet. We are still going to follow the same pattern, but we're just going to make it into a V-stitch. Okay, so double crochet. We're going to make a front post double in this post here just before that, like we did before. Okay, front post double crochet. We're then going to make another front post double crochet in this post, the 2nd post of the V-stitch. Front post double crochet. And we need a normal double crochet, which we're going to put in that chain space of the V-stitch in the back. Okay, so go ahead and do double crochet in the back of that front post in the chain 1 space, and this is going to be our V-stitch. So for each odd row you're going to do exactly the same V-stitch from now on and until you finish your project. Okay, let's do the next section together. I feel the odd rows are slightly more complicated than the even rows. However, once you get the hang of it and you can start seeing the pattern, it's going to come naturally and you're just going to follow it. Okay, so again, chain 1, and we're going to do a double crochet into that 1st stitch of the shell. Okay, a double crochet, a front post double just before that into this front post. Okay, a front post double crochet just after the shell stitch. Okay, and then a double crochet in the back on this 3rd stitch of the shell. Okay, and then chain 1. So essentially what we are doing is we are doing a double crochet, front post double, and another double crochet. So the double crochets are always going to be in the back of the front post double crochets. I hope that makes sense. So let's just finish this section then until the next V-stitch, and I'm going to go through on how to do the V-stitch again. Okay, so we've done the, I don't know if I chained 1. Yes, I did. Let me just do that again. Make sure you've chained 1 and then double crochet into the 1st chain of the shell, front post double just before that on the left side of the shell, a front post double on the right, sorry, a front post double on the left side of the shell, and a normal double crochet at the back of this 3rd chain of the shell, and chain 1. So let's do that again. Double crochet, a front post double crochet on the left of the shell, a front post double, sorry, at the left now, so that was the right, I'm getting mixed up here and I'm probably confusing you guys, and a double crochet in the back and chain one. Okay, and we are up to that V-stitch again. So what we'll do is we're going to do a double crochet, okay, a front post double in this post of the previous V-stitch. So we've got those two posts from the previous V-stitch and we're going to use them to make our V-stitch for this row. So front post double, okay, another front post double crochet on the other side, and a double crochet in the back into that chain space of the previous V-stitch, and chain one. Okay, let's do that one more time. So a double crochet into the first chain of the shell, a front post double to the right of the shell, a front post double to the left of the shell, and a double crochet at the back into the third chain of the shell. Okay, and chain one. Don't forget about the chain one. It's very important that you have it, otherwise your work will be shrinking. Okay, let's do one more. Double crochet into that first chain of your shell, okay, a front post to the right of the shell, front post double, a front post double crochet to the left of the shell, okay, and a double crochet in the back in this third chain here of the shell, and chain one. Okay. So I'm going to let you continue with that pattern. Make sure when you get to the V-stitch that you're using these two posts of the previous V-stitch to do your front post double crochets, and then the normal double will go in this chain one space in the back, and then continue with that pattern, and I'm going to meet you once we get to this last section. Okay, so I'm coming towards the last section of our third row. I'm just going to do the V-stitch here, and then I'm going to continue on that section together with you, and we're going to finish this row together. So I've chained one on my double crochet there, so I'm going to do a double crochet into this V-stitch, a front post double crochet just on the right of that chain space in the V-stitch, another front post double crochet to the left of that empty space, and a double crochet in the chain space of the V-stitch. I'm going to chain one, and I'm just going to do the last section. So we're going to start with a double crochet into the shell stitch, into that first stitch, a front post double crochet to the right of the shell stitch, a front post double crochet to the left of the shell stitch, and a double crochet at the back of that front post there, and that's in the third chain of the shell, and chain one, and we're going to repeat that one more time. So double crochet, front post double crochet, a front post double crochet just on the left side of that of the shell stitch, so that's in this post here. I do apologize about those noises. That's my doggy who just had food, so she's doing some zoomies at the moment. Okay, a double crochet in the back of that front post. Okay, So we are coming towards the end and we've got one stitch left, and we're just going to mirror what we did at the beginning, which is a normal double crochet. Okay, so your work, okay, should look a bit, okay, a bit like this. Okay, as you can see, you can start seeing those shapes forming now, and you should have the shape of the yoke very identifiable, as you can see. So let's keep going. Okay, so to start our next row, so that's going to be 1, 2, 3, the 4th row, we're going to chain 2 and turn our work. Okay, and we're going to make a double crochet into that first stitch to begin with. Okay, so let's do that. Double crochet, and we're going to put our stitch mark on there. Okay, so this is going to be very similar to the not the previous row but the one before. As I said, so this is the even row on the wrong side. So we're going to make another double crochet right next to it, and then what's going to happen is, if you actually turn your work, you're going to see all these back post double crochets. Okay, so they've come together here and also here and so on. So what we need to do is we're just going to follow them. Okay, so we've made those 2 double crochets there, so we're going to have 2 back post double crochets, and then we're going to make a shell stitch in there, and then 2 back post double crochet and a shell stitch, and so on. So okay, let's do that and work up, basically do the practical bit now. Okay, so I need to do 2 back post double crochets, so that's 1. So to do a back post double crochet, you need to go on the back of that pillar there. So yarn over, go in the back, okay, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so we've done 2 of them, and you can see how they continue, and we're going to do a shell stitch in that big space there. So the shell stitch is 3 double crochets in that same space. Okay, 1, 2 and 3. So if we turn our work, we're going to see that we are coming to 2 more back post double crochets. So let's do 2 more back post double crochets. So that's 1 and that's 2, and another space, and we're going to do the shell stitch in that big space there. 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so now we have come to the V stitch in here. So this is our corner, and how we're going to do the corner, if you turn, you're going to see that we do have these back post double crochets. Okay, so we're going to do 1, then do a normal V stitch, and then do another back post double crochet like we did in the 2nd row. So back post double crochet, so we are always going to finish with a one back post double, and we're always going to start with 1 back post double on each section of your work. Okay, so we've gone 1, then we're going to do a normal V stitch. The normal V stitch is a double crochet, chain 1 and another double crochet, and we're going to start the next section with just 1 back post double crochet. Okay, so now we've got chain space again, so we're going to do the shell stitch on that. Okay, which is 3 double crochets in the same space. So that's 2 and 3. Okay, and if you turn your work again, you're going to see that you've got 2 more back post double crochets, so that's what we're going to do. we're just going to follow them. Okay, so that's 1 and 2. Okay, and again you've got this space here, so we're going to make a shell stitch, and you're going to follow this pattern until the end of the work. Just remember that each of these sections is going to end with 1 back post double crochet. Okay, so it's going to end with 1 back post double crochet there, and then you're going to do a V-stitch into this chain space, just a normal V-stitch, and then the next section is just going to start with 1 back post double crochet. So you're going to do that until the end of this row, and I'm going to meet you once we are at the last section and we're going to finish that together. Okay, so here I am in the last section of a row number 5. So I'm at the V-stitch in here in the corner, so I'm gonna end this section with a back post double crochet, and then I'm gonna make a V-stitch in that chain space in the previous V-stitch. This is just a normal one, double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet, and I'm gonna start the next section with back post double crochet in this chain, in this big chain space here. We're gonna put a shell stitch, so that's 3 double crochets together. Okay, and then 2 back post double crochets. You can see them on the back, so just follow those. I find that once you get started, it's very easy because you don't have to count anything. You just follow the posts, really. It's just until you start the work that it can be a bit tricky. So we are this big chain space, so again we're going to put a shell stitch on there. So that's 1, 2, 3 double crochets. Okay, and we're going to end the same way how we started. Well, it's just going to be a mirror, so 2 double crochets there, back post double, sorry, 2 back post double crochets. So that's 1, and let's do the other one, and we're going to end this with 2 normal double crochets. So 1, and the last one is going to go where the stitch marker is, so that's going to be 2. Okay, so at the end of that row, your work from the back should look like this. Okay, and on the right side or on the front it should look a bit like this, and you can start seeing those definitions there. Okay. To start row number 5, we need to chain 2 and turn our work. Okay, so we're going to start this row by doing 1 double crochet at the start, and we're just going to place the stitch marker on there. Okay, and as you can see, this pattern goes inwards and outwards, which means now we have to make this to go inwards or on the right, which means that we're going to do a front post double crochet and then a double crochet in the back in this second chain there. Okay, and chain 1. We can now begin our pattern. The same as a row 3, we're going to do a double crochet in the first chain of the shell, a front post double to the right, a front post double to the left, and a double crochet in the back in this third chain of the shell, and then chain 1. So let's do that together. 1 double crochet in the first chain of the shell, 1 front post double crochet on the right side of the shell, front post double crochet to the left of the shell, and a double crochet in the back in this third chain of the shell, which is there. Okay, and then chain one. Okay, let's do that one more time. So double crochet, front post double crochet, another front post double crochet to the left, and a double crochet in the back. Okay, we're gonna, oops, 1 second, let me do that again. One double crochet, that's much better. Okay, we are at the V-stitch now, so we are not going to do the normal V-stitch, we're going to do the same V-stitch that we did for row number 3. Okay, which means we're going to do a double crochet in that chain 1 space, front post double in this post just before, another front post double in the next post. Okay, so these are the posts from the V-stitch on the previous row, and a double crochet inside that chain space of the previous V-stitch. Okay, and chain 1. Okay, so we are up to the next row, so this is what's going to make the shoulders and the sleeves eventually. Okay, so let's do that. Let's start it together. So double crochet in the shell stitch in the first, front post double to the right, front post double to the left of the shell, and a double crochet in the back. Okay, and chain 1. Let's do that one more time. So double crochet in the first post of the shell, front post double crochet to the right of the shell, front post double crochet to the left of the shell, and a double crochet in the back. Okay, into that third shell stitch. Okay, so I'm gonna leave you to continue your work. Just follow this pattern and just be very mindful about the V-stitch. So we are starting with double crochet, then front post double, another front post double, and a double crochet in the back. Okay, so just be mindful of that. Continue with this row, and I'm going to meet you at the end. Okay, so I'm coming up to the last section of this row, so I'm at the last V-stitch. So let's make this together. So one double crochet in that chain 1 space of the V-stitch, front post double crochet to the right, front post double crochet to the left, and a double crochet inside that chain space of the V-stitch, and on the back of that front post double crochet, chain 1, and here we are, last section, double crochet, front post double crochet, and another, and a double crochet in the back. Okay, one more time, and this is the last time for this row. Front post double, and another, and a double crochet in the back. Okay, so we're gonna complete this row the same way that we started it, really. So I've just chained 1, and I'm gonna go right there to this second stitch from the end, and I'm gonna do a back post and finish it with a normal double crochet. Okay, so that's just a mirror image of the beginning of this row. Okay, let's have a look now. So our work is starting to get shaped. So it looks like this at the moment, and you can see these beautiful patterns forming, and the rows are really just a repeat of row 3 and 4. You just need to follow the back posts and front posts really, and just create new ones at the at these corners here. Okay, so to start the next row, same thing as before, we're gonna chain 2. Okay, 1, 2, and we're gonna turn our work. Okay, so to begin this row, we're gonna put a double crochet into that first stitch. Okay, and I'm just gonna place the stitch marker there. There we go. Got some spare ones there. Okay, so if you actually turn your work, you're gonna see this back post double crochet just there, which means that we're gonna follow that line, and we're gonna, the next stitch is gonna be back post double crochet. So let's do that together. So that's a back post double crochet, and now we've come to this chain space here, which means that we're gonna do a shell stitch. So the shell stitch is 3 double crochets all in that same stitch. Okay, let's do that. Once you've completed that, we've come to the 2 back post double crochets, and we're just gonna follow them, which means that we're gonna make 2 back post double crochets. Okay, and another shell stitch because we've come to this chain space. So let's make the shell stitch, which again is 3 double crochets into that space. Okay, and again 2 back post double crochets. Let's just follow that. 2 back post double crochets, and again we've got this chain space, which means that we need to do a shell stitch in there. Now this is the same pattern that we followed on the second row. So when we come to the V-stitch, or at the end of each section, we do finish it with just 1 back post double crochet. So back post double crochet. Now the V-stitch, we're going to do a normal V-stitch, which is just double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet into that same space, and each row is going to start with just 1 back post double crochet. Okay, and we are up to the chain space, which means we're going to do a shell stitch, and the pattern then continues as follow. Okay, so we've got that chain space, 2 back post double crochets, okay, and another one, and into that chain space we're gonna do a shell stitch. Okay, you're gonna continue with this pattern until the end of this row, and I'm gonna meet you at the end. Please remember, when you finish each of these sections, you're gonna finish it with a back post, then you're gonna do a normal V-stitch into that space there, and you're gonna start each section with a back post double crochet, just the 1. Okay, so continue with this pattern, and I'm gonna see you at the end of this row. Okay, so I'm coming to the last section of this row. I'm at the last V-stitch, so we're gonna finish this section with a back post double crochet, then a normal V-stitch into that chain 1 space of the previous V-stitch, And we're gonna start the last section with a back post double crochet and a shell in the next chain space, and we're just going to continue with that pattern until we reach the end of this row. So 2 back post double crochets, so that's 1, that's 2. We are next to this chain 1 space where we're going to make a shell. That's 1, 2 and 3, then 2 back post double crochets, so that's 1 and 2. Okay, another shell, so this is the last shell for this row. Okay, 3, and we're just gonna mirror the beginning now. So back post double crochet, okay, and the last one will just be a normal double crochet. Okay, and chain 2. We have finished row 6, so let's have a look at our work. Oops. So this is what it looks like from the wrong side. Okay, it's starting to take shape, as you can see, and this is what it looks like on the right side. Okay, as you can see, these patterns are starting to take shape and our yoke is actually getting bigger now. What we'll do next is we're going to start row 7. Row 7 is actually a repeat of a row 3, and then row 8 is going to be a repeat of row 4, so we're going to repeat row 3, 4, 5 and 6, and this is the pattern that you're going to be working on and making your yoke bigger. Okay, the only difference with them is that the sections are going to start getting bigger, so you're going to have a little bit more sort of pattern to work with on each of those sections. And just remember what we started with and what we finished to make sure that your work is a little bit straighter. If, for example, you've maybe accidentally added another stitch in here, or it's looking a little bit bulky, I wouldn't worry too much about it, because we are going to put a border on, and once the border is up, it's going to be hardly noticeable. Just make sure that there's no more than one, for example, so it's not going totally out. Okay, so you're going to be working on that, and you're going to make sure that these corners are 14 centimeters. So we're going to need that size in order for us to do the sleeves. Okay, and because we are making a coat / cardigan for toddlers age 2 to 3, that's the size that we're gonna need the yoke to be. So at the moment, what I've got for my yoke is, okay, so I've got about 7 centimeters, which is nearly 3 inches. So I need to double that. Okay, so another 7 rows or so. So continue with your pattern. I'm gonna meet you once your yoke is the desired size, and then we're gonna connect the corners and make the opening for the sleeves and continue our project. Okay, so I'm gonna meet you once you are pretty much double this size. Okay everybody, so all in all I have done 12 rows. And as you can see, my project is a bit big or bigger than what I left you with. Okay, so we're going to take our tape measure now and just measure the sides to make sure that they are our desired length. So we're going to measure this bit here where we used to do the V-stitches, so that needs to be 14, and as you can see I've got 13.5 centimeters, so that's about 5.5 inches, which is absolutely fine, which means on row 13 I'm gonna start connecting these two sides, okay, like so, and the other two sides which are gonna give us our open armholes opening there, so we can do the sleeves afterwards. Okay, so this is row 13 for me. You might have done a row more or a row less, but it's important that you have those dimensions there right. Okay, I do prefer to be on the right side when I do the connections, because then it's easier to see. So if you want to do the same, by all means do, and just it's easier, that's all I'm saying. Okay, so I have done my first double crochet in that first stitch, so I'm just going to continue with the pattern that we were doing. So just as a reminder really for the patterns that we were doing, I know my sketch doesn't really make much sense, but basically this is the pattern we were following. Okay, and at the moment, if you can see my work, where is it? Oops, almost lost it there. Here it is. So I've got two of these front post double crochets together, and that will mean I'm here. So the next pattern I'm gonna follow is this one here. So one double crochet, and I'm gonna start going on the connecting them two together there, and this one will have to go this way, so we are on the curved edges there. Okay, so that's what we are doing. Let's get started. I've lost my stitch, that's okay. I'm gonna make another one. So we're gonna do one double crochet in that first stitch, and I'm gonna put my stitch marker back on there. I do prefer to have my stitch markers. I have been crocheting for a while and I don't think I'll ever change. As I said before, I do like them. I do like to watch movie or listen to podcasts or stuff like that, so sometimes I do forget about my stitches, so the stitch marker is really like a godsend to me. Okay, so we've done the first double crochet. Next is to do to continue with the pattern, which is to do a front post double crochet. Oops. Okay, let's do that again. Front post double crochet and a double crochet in the back on that stitch that we've missed. Chain one, and then we are continuing with the pattern like before. Okay, so double crochet in the first stitch of the shell, and then front post double crochet. Connect that to the front post to the left of the shell, and then double crochet in the back and that third chain in the shell stitch. So as you can see, we are continuing with the pattern and with the wiggly lines there. Okay, so keep on going, and I'm going to meet you there just as we are coming to the V stitch. Okay, So we've come to the V-stitch. So normally, and the way we've been doing all up to now, in the V-stitch we would have done a double crochet, a front post double crochet, another front post double crochet, and a double crochet in the back into this chain space. So we would have done that all throughout our work. Because we have to connect this V-stitch to the next V-stitch, okay, we're going to do this slightly different. We're going to make the same stitches, however this is where we're going to connect the work. So let's do this. We're going to make a a double crochet into that chain space like so, a front post double crochet to the right post, okay, and this is where, instead of doing another front post double crochet into that V-stitch there, we're gonna make it into the next V-stitch. So you can imagine this is going this way, so this is the way we are crocheting, which means into this V-stitch is not going to be on the right side but on the left side of that V-stitch. So when we connect them like so, we're going to do the front post double crochet, just the front post double crochet just on that left side of that V-stitch, and then a double crochet into that chain space of that V-stitch, okay, and then chain one and continue with a pattern which is the back of a cardi coat. Okay, so this is going to be front post and a double crochet in the back. So I'm going to just show you, I'm just going to show you what that looks like when you connect them. Okay, so here is our work. Okay, we've connected this side to the other side and it looks a little bit like this. The reason why we did it like that is because if you just imagine us going in the row, okay, that would have been our natural progression there with the work. So now when we continue on the rows after, we're going to have that continuous pattern, so it's not going to be all mismatch of pattern and basically just going all over the shop. So it's going to be quite nice when we start doing it. It's going to be a continuous pattern. Okay, so keep on going with your work. So now we are at the back. Okay, so this is the back of our work. So keep on going, follow the same pattern, and I'm going to meet you once you get to that V-stitch and we're going to go and do that together. Okay, so here we are at the next V-stitch, which means that we have to connect the third V-stitch to the fourth and make the opening for the other armhole. Okay, same thing as before. We're gonna chain one and then double crochet into the chain space of the V-stitch, front post double crochet to the right of the V-stitch. Okay, so that's the post that makes the V-stitch. Now we're going to make a front post double crochet on the other side in the next V-stitch, but on the left side. Okay, so we're just going to do the other half of the V-stitch really. So front post double and then a double crochet in the back into that chain space of the V-stitch and chain one, and we're going to continue with that pattern on that last section of our yoke. Okay, so another front post double, and then I'm going to meet you when we are at the end of that row. So we're going to finish that together and start on the next row. So I'm coming to the end of that row. I'm just on the last few stitches, so I've done the double crochet in the back, chained one. Now I'm gonna do a double crochet. So this is the mirror of the beginning of this row. So front post double, and then I'm gonna finish that with a double crochet into that first stitch. Okay, and chain two. I'm going to show you what our work looks like now. Okay, there we go, guys. We've done it. We've connected them two together, and now our work is starting to be, well, it's starting to look like a cardigan slash coat. Okay, next we're gonna start the next row, and this is basically we are following the repeat pattern that we've been doing all the way. The only difference will be that we are not gonna have any more V-stitches, so our rows will just be continued. Okay, so let's do this first one together and you're gonna see what I mean. Okay, so I've chained two and turn my work, and I'm gonna put a double crochet into that first stitch, and I'm gonna put my stitch marker on there. Okay, and we're going to continue doing what we've been doing. You can see on the back that I've got that front back post double crochet or pillar in there, so I need to keep going with that. So back post double crochet, and then we've got that big space there where we do our shell stitch. So the shell stitch is the 3 double crochets into that chain space, and then 2 back post double crochets, because you can see we've got the 2 back post double crochets on there. So we're gonna do 1 and another one. Okay, and then we are up to this big chain space again, so we're gonna do another shell stitch, and we're gonna continue with that pattern all the way to the end. Now I'm gonna do this pattern with you until we get to that the 2 V-stitches that we put together, just to show you how we're gonna continue when we get to that space, because at the moment it might not look like any of these stitches that we are doing, any of the normal stitches if you like. So we need to make sure that we're going to do that right in order for us to continue with a pattern and not have differences in the patterns that we are doing. So keep on going, and I'm going to meet you once we get here in this the 2 V-stitches that we put together. Okay, okay, so I've continued with that pattern, and I've come to this space where we connected the 2 V-stitches. So what we need to do now is continue with this pattern. So I've done the shell stitch, and we know after the shell stitch come the 2 back post double crochet. If you actually turn your work like so, you will see the back post double crochets there that we did into those V-stitches. So we just need to continue with that pattern. So we need to make 2 back post double crochet. So one is going to be from one side and the other one is going to be from the other side. Okay, so let's do that. So one from this side, so that's the back post double crochet there. Okay, and we're going to make another back post double crochet, and this one is from the other side. Okay, so there it is there. Okay, so let's do the back post double crochet there. Okay, and there we go. and we are up to this big space where we do the shell stitch. Okay, I'm gonna do the shell stitch followed by 2 back post double crochets, a shell stitch, 2 back post double crochets, and so on. So this is the pattern that we're gonna do on this row all the way to the end. Keep it going, and I'm gonna meet you at the end. Please remember, when you get to this space where we connected the 2 V-stitches, to do a shell, 2 back post double crochets, so one from one side and the other one on the other side, and then keep it going. Okay, so I'm gonna meet you close to the end of this row, and we're gonna finish this together. Okay, so here we are in the next connection, if you like, from the 2 V-stitches that we did. So I've done my shell stitch there, so I need to do the 2 back post double crochet. So I'm gonna do the one on the right side, which is just there, same as before. Okay, and I think it's gonna be easier from the next row because you would have the pattern already there. And we're gonna do the back post double crochet on the other side, and we're gonna continue with this pattern all the way to the end of this row. And then I'm just gonna finish this row with you and start the next one. And what we'll do after the next one is basically we're just gonna follow the 4 row pattern repeat like we did when we were making the top part. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna leave the symbol map on the screen, so if you want to pause the screen after we finish this row so you can have the pattern repeat and know how to end and start the row, then by all means you can do that. And I think if you do have it, it's just going to be easier as you go along. Okay, so let's finish this row together. Okay, we are at the last shell stitch of this row, so let's make this and finish the row. So we're going to finish the row like we've been finishing all the other rows, which is the mirror image of the starting point. Okay, so we are just mirroring that. Okay, so we're going to do back post double crochet just in the back. Okay, and we're going to make a double crochet into this last stitch where stitch marker is. So let's remove the stitch marker and just place a double crochet, and we're going to chain 2. Okay, turn your work and let's have a look actually. Okay, so our work should look, don't worry about these curling bits, we're going to sort that out once we've done the border, but your work should look a bit like this. So it's taking shape. So now we've done the connections here, and you can see the pattern is starting to form there. So you can see we haven't gone off the pattern, and this is very important when we do the sleeves afterwards, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, so we've done this, we've done this row, and we've turned our work, and we're just going to continue with the pattern repeat. So we're going to do the double crochet to start off with. I think all the rows are ending and finishing with your double crochet. Okay, put the stitch marker there. Okay, like so. And what we'll do is we'll start this pattern with a double crochet into that first chain of the shell stitch. Okay, a front post double crochet just on the right side of the shell, a front post double crochet on the other side of the shell, and a double crochet into that third chain of the shell stitch and chain one. So this is the pattern that we're going to do all the way around. Now you're going to notice that now that we've done 2 rows in here, just under the arm openings, you can see the pattern there. So just follow the same pattern that we've started off with, and then remember, when you finish this row, it's going to be a mirror image on the starting point, which means that you're going to connect those 2 front post double crochets like we did here. You're going to do the double crochet onto this third chain, and then you finish it in the end. So exactly like we did at the start, so they're going to be a mirror. And then you're going to continue the work for this. As I said, I'm going to put the pattern, the symbol pattern, on the screen. So if you would like to pause the screen and have it in front of you so you know how to end and finish each row, by all means do. If you want to rewind the video and have a look at the 4 rows repeat that we've been doing, you can do that as well. So lengthwise, it very much depends on the size that you would like to make. So I'm making a cardi coat, so I would like this cardi coat to be just under where the arms finish. So if you put your arms just like next to your body, I would like it to be just a little bit longer than that. So that's what I'm going to do, or that's what I'm hoping to do. But yeah, I'll see how I get on. It's important to remember that the length of the sleeves is going to be around 22 centimeters, and I'm going to show you again the sizes just to give you an idea. Sorry, this is my scrapbook and I've got everything and anything in here. So we are making this cardi coat for ages 2 to 3. So the sleeve length needs to be around 22 centimeters. So I'm gonna make my cardi coat possibly around 23, 24 centimeters. So that's what I'm looking for. But as I said, you might want to do it a little bit shorter, or you might want to do it a little bit longer, and that is totally up to you. What we'll do is I'm gonna meet you once I've got the desired length, and once you've got your desired length, come and meet me back to the video, and then we're gonna do the border together and start on the sleeves.